Good day, grade 7 students. For this video, we are going to study about the angles formed by parallel lines cut by transversal line. Now, this is somehow connected to the last video, which is about angle pairs. We are going to study again another set of angle pairs which are formed by two lines cut by a transversal line. Let us first define what a transversal line is. It is a line that intersects two or more coplanar lines at different points, meaning this line cuts two or more different lines at two or more different points. Tatandaan. Okay, dapat magkaiba yung intersection po. For example, I have here two figures. As you can see on the first figure, we have line T cutting line L and M at two different points. Magkaiba po yung point of intersection. Magkahiwalay, okay? Meaning, line T here is a transversal line, okay? Kasi po, kinat niya yung line L and M at two different points. And as you can also see, yung line L and M, they are parallel, okay? So, parallel again means these are coplanar lines that do not intersect. On the other figure, we have lines B and C, which are non-parallel lines or, in other words, intersecting lines. So, kahit hindi po pinakita na nag-intersect sila, pag in-extend po natin itong ends na ito, they will eventually intersect here, at some point here. Okay? So, mag-i-intersect po yan. So, they are non-parallel, and as you can see, there is a line R that cuts line B and line C at two different points. Okay? Making it a transversal line. Actually, yung lines B and C, pwede rin silang maging transversal. So, di ba kapag in-extend naman natin yung lines B and C, magbi-meet sila. Meaning, si line B, aside from it intersects line R, may intersect na din niya yung line C. Which means, line B is also a transversal line. And ganun din yung line C. Okay? So, kapag po non-parallel yung lines, lahat sila pwedeng maging transversal line. Unlike sa first figure natin. Since hindi magbimit ang L at M, ang transversal line lang natin dito is line T. When a transversal intersects two lines, blank angles are formed. So, let us determine now how many angles are being formed by two lines cut by a transversal line. So, diba, in our previous video, we learned that when two lines intersect, there are four angles formed in the intersection. Okay? So, apat na angles. Since we have two intersections here, therefore, we have, all in all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 angles formed. Okay? So, apat po per intersection. So, pag nadagdagan pa ng isang line dyan, syempre, additional 4 angles yon. So, tatandaan na, when a transversal intersects two lines only, 8 angles are formed. We have what we call the interior angles. So, yung interior angles po na tinutukoy, these are the 4 angles formed between the lines being cut by the transversal line. So, let's say, ang transversal natin dito is line L. Okay? So, yung interior angles na tinutukoy natin are those angles between line M and line N. So, di ba, we have 8 angles here. So, as you can see, merong 4 na nasa pagitan ng line M at N. Sila po yung tinatawag na interior angles. So, let us name them. The 4 angles that we are talking about. We have angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, and angle 6. 4 interior angles. So, which means the remaining 4 angles are what we call the exterior angles. Yun naman po yung outside the lines being cut by the transversal line. We have angle 1, angle 2, and angle 7 and angle 8. So remember that we have 4 interior angles and 4 exterior angles. So now let us move on to the angle pairs formed when two lines are being cut by a transversal line. So let's say, ang transversal po natin dito is si line L. Okay? The first pair is what we call the corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are two non-adjacent angles, one interior and the other exterior on the same side of the transversal. Okay? Tandaan, non-adjacent sila, meaning hindi sila dapat magkatabi, hindi sila nagpo-form ng linear pair, isang interior, isang exterior, at dapat nasa same side ng transversal. So, di ba, line L is our transversal line, so meaning this line divides the plane into two sides. Okay? So, itong left side at yung right side niya. Tandaan. So, again, dapat po isang interior, isang exterior na hindi po adjacent. So, that means angle 1 and angle 5 is a corresponding pair, okay? Or corresponding angles, yung dalawang yan. So, ang clue ko po dyan, ang tatandaan nyo, parang nagpo-form siya ng letter F. Okay? So, tatandaan na, pag corresponding angles, parang letter F po yung na-form. Nabaliktad lang siya na letter F. So, dahil dyan, since we have 8 angles, 4 na interior at 4 na exterior, meaning meron tayong 4 na pairs. Okay? Ito na yung first pair natin, angle 1 and angle 5. The second pair is angle 2 and angle 6. So, angle 2 is exterior, angle 6 is interior. And the third pair, we have angle 4 and angle 8. And the last pair would be angle 3 and angle 7. Okay, remember that we have 4 pairs of corresponding angles when two lines are being cut by a transversal line. The second pair is what we call the alternate interior angles. These are two interior angles that lie on opposite sides of a transversal line. So, ito yung transversal line natin, di ba? As you can see, it divides the plane into two parts. Okay? So, particularly in this figure, left part at saka yung right part or right side, left and right. Okay? So, tatandaan. Meaning, yung ating pong alternate interior angles, dapat isang nasa left, isang nasa right. And since alternate interior nga po sila, dapat yung magka-partner, parehas silang interior angles. Since we have 4 interior angles, dividing 4 by 2, we will get 2 pairs. Okay? So, dahil nga alternate sila, pag sinabing alternate, hindi po siya magkasunod. Okay? Or hindi siya magkatabi. That means, angle 4 and angle 6 are alternate interior angles. Okay? So, yung isa nasa left, si angle 4, nasa right yung angle 6. And the second pair is angle 3 and angle 5. Okay? So, para siyang magka-cross yung alternate interior angles. Okay? So, pag tinignan nyo namang mabuti, yung na-form ng dalawang magka-pair na angles ay parang zigzag. Okay? Letter Z. Okay? Pa-zigzag po siya. So, yun yung palatandaan po ng alternate interior angles. Next, syempre kung meron tayong alternate interior, edi meron ding alternate exterior angles. Okay? So, alternate exterior angles are two exterior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. So, parang katulad lang din sa alternate interior, dapat magkabilang side ng transversal at hindi sila magkatabi. Meaning, ang partner po ng angle 1 is si angle 7. Hindi na pwede yung angle 2 kasi nga linear pair sila. Okay? At ang partner ni angle 2 is si angle 8. Okay? So, para din siyang X na pinaghiwalay lang. Okay? Magkatalikuran. Parang vertical angles nga sila pero magkahiwalay ng vertex. Okay? So, yun po yung alternate exterior angles. The fourth pair is what we call the same side interior angles. Okay? So, nandun naman mismo sa pangalan niya, same side interior. Meaning, these are two interior angles that lie on the same side of the transversal. Kanina, di ba, opposite side. Ngayon naman, same side na dapat sila. So, again, yung ating pong interior angle, since apat sila, may makukuha tayong 2 pairs dyan. Okay? Siyempre, kita naman natin kung ano yung dalawang angles na nasa parehas na side ng transversal. Of course, ang partner ni 4 ay si angle 5. Okay? And ang partner po ni angle 3 is angle 6. So, para siyang letter C na magkatalikuran. Okay? Parang letter C yung na-form niyang figure. Okay? So, that's same side interior angles. Interior angles on the same side. Tatandaan lang po yun. Of course, meron din tayong same side exterior. Okay? Same idea ng same side interior angles. Ito po yung mga exterior angles that lie on the same side of the transversal line. Okay? Of course, we have angle 1, angle 2, angle 7, angle 8. So, kita po sa figure natin that angle 1 and angle 8 both lies on the left side of the transversal. So, meaning sila yung isang pair ng same side exterior angles. Okay? And the second pair is angle 2 and angle 7 since they both lie on the right side. Okay? So, ganyan naman po ang itsura ng ating same side exterior angles. So that's it. Let us now practice what you have learned by naming the following figures based on our figure. First is transversal line. Alin nga ba dito yung transversal? Again, when we say transversal, it is the line that cuts two or more lines at two different points. So as you can see, in the figure, we have lines A, B, and C. And since line A cuts line B and line C at two different points, then it is our transversal line. Next, interior angles. Again, when we say interior angles, these are the angles between the lines being cut by the transversal. Therefore, they are angle 2, angle 3, angle 6, and angle 7. That is correct. Next, exterior angles. These are the angles that lie outside the lines. Meaning, ito po ay angle 1, angle 4, angle 5, and angle 8. Again, 4 interior and 4 exterior angles. Next naman po is yung mga angle pairs natin. First, we have the corresponding angles. And again, we have 4 pairs of corresponding angles here. Ang palatandaan ulit natin yung nag-form ng letter F. Meaning po, we have angle 1 and angle 3, angle 2 and angle 4, angle 5 and angle 7, and angle 6 and angle 8. Make sure po na lalagyan nyo ng end, okay? Kada pair. Para po siyang Romeo and Juliet or pen and paper, dapat may end para po ma-indicate na sila yung magka-partner. Hindi sila pwedeng paghiwalayin. Next, we have the alternate interior angles. And again, alternate interior angles are non-adjacent angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal line. Meaning, ang magka-partner po is angle 2 and angle 7 and angle 3 and angle 6. So, sabi ko nga yung nag-form ng parang zigzag or letter Z. So, yun po yung alternate interior. Next po ay alternate exterior angles. So, these are exterior angles that lie on opposite side of the transversal line. Of course, non-adjacent din sila. Meaning, ang partner po ng angle 1 is angle 8 at ang partner ng angle 4 is angle 5. Next, same side interior angles. Two interior angles that lie on the same side of the transversal line which is line A. At yung sabi ko nga yung nagpo-form ng parang letter C. Okay? Meaning, ang magka-partner po is angle 2 and angle 3. And ang partner po ng angle 6 is angle 7. Last, we have the same side exterior angles. These are two exterior angles on the same side of the transversal. So, ang partner po ng angle 1 is angle 4 and ang partner ni angle 5 ay angle 8. Okay, so that's how we classify the different angle pairs formed by two lines cut by a transversal line. So now let us study the relationship of the angles formed by parallel lines cut by a transversal line. So ang i-discuss po natin ngayon ay postulate and theorems po which will justify these relationships. But before that, let us try to illustrate and study the relationship of the angles formed when two lines are cut by a transversal line. So, dito po sa figure natin, yung transversal line po natin is itong ating blue line. At yung red lines naman po, yung lines na kinakat ng transversal. Remember, kada intersection, meron tayong 4 na angles na nabubuo. Okay? So, dito makikita na agad natin yung vertical angles at yung linear pairs natin. Remember, according to the vertical angle theorem, vertical angles are always congruent. Okay? So, in our figure, see that the vertical angles are all congruent. So, 43 equals 43, 137 is equal to 137. Same with here in the second intersection, di ba? 130 is equal to 130, 50 is equal to 50. And then we also have the linear pairs. And according to the linear pair postulate, di ba? Two angles forming a linear pair are always supplementary. Which means yung mga magkakatabi, kapag inad natin, palagi siyang 180 degrees. 137 plus 43 is 180. 43 plus 137 is also 180. 130 plus 50 is 180. 50 plus 130 is 180. So, kahit i-move ko yan, ganun pa rin yon. So, congruent yung vertical, yung linear pair ay supplementary. Pero, yung mga corresponding angles natin, alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior, same side exterior, wala pa tayong makikitang special relationship. Kasi di ba magkakaiba pa sila ng measurement. Iba yung set ng measurements dito sa taas dun sa set of measurements na nasa second intersection. Pero notice po na kapag ginawa kong parallel yung red lines natin, ayan, magiging parehas na yung angles dito sa taas dun sa nasa baba. Kumbaga parang duplicate po nung angles na nasa taas yung nasa baba. So, mas mapapatunayan pa natin ito kapag ibinaba natin yung lines or pinagpatong natin or pinag-coincide natin sila. So, as you can see, yung mga angles po ay nag-coincide din. Which means that the corresponding angles are congruent. Okay? Ayan. So, itaas ulit natin. So, diba yung 125 dito sa taas, it corresponds to this angle which also measures 125. So, ganun din yung mga natitirang corresponding angles natin. Parehas sila ng measurement. Okay? So, kahit po i-move ko yung transversal natin, so, tingnan nyo mabuti, yung mga corresponding angles natin, lagi silang congruent. Okay? So, yun po yung sinasabi nung ating first postulate. And the only postulate na ating aaralin. The rest, theorems na po. Okay? So, ito po yung postulate na sinasabi ko. It is called corresponding angle postulate, and it states that if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal line, then the corresponding angles are congruent. Again, pag postulate, ito yung mga statements na hindi na kailangan pang i-prove kasi obvious na sila ay totoo. Okay, parang yung pinakita ko kanina, yung sa illustration, di ba? Kapag pinag-coincide natin yung parallel lines, magko-coincide din yung mga corresponding angles. Okay? So, in this figure, the red lines are parallel, meaning the corresponding angles are congruent, which means their measures are all equal, yung magkaka-pair, meaning the measure of angle 1 must be equal to the measure of angle 5, the measure of angle 2 must be equal to the measure of angle 6, the measure of angle 4 must be equal to the measure of angle 8, and the measure of angle 3 must be equal to the measure of angle 7. And again, this happens when the lines being cut by the transversal line are parallel. Okay? Next, we have the alternate interior angle theorem. This time, theorem na po ito. Again, pag sinabing theorem, kailangan mo nang i-prove bago tanggapin. Okay? So, actually, may proof po itong theorem na to. Before that, ito po yung kanyang statement. If two parallel lines are cut by a transversal line, then the alternate interior angles are congruent as well. Okay? So, kanina, di ba, corresponding angles are congruent. Ngayon naman, kiniklaim ng theorem na to na yung alternate interior angles ay congruent din. So, let us try to prove first the alternate interior angle theorem. Okay? So, let's say, given yung measure ng angle 1. Remember, angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding angles, di ba? Which means that the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 5. So, x din po ito. Tama? And then, on the other hand, angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. And it is already proven by the vertical angle theorem that vertical angles are congruent. Which means yung angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Same po ang measurement nila. And since angle 3 and angle 5 are both congruent to angle 1, then we can also say that angle 3 is congruent to angle 5 by transitive property. Okay, so yun po yung proof ng alternate interior angle theorem. Siyempre, magiging congruent na rin po yung other pair ng alternate interior angles natin, which are angle 4 and angle 6. Okay? So, again, in this figure, the measure of angle 4 must be equal to the measure of angle 6, while the measure of angle 3 is equal to the measure of angle 5. Okay? So, this is the alternate interior angle theorem. Siyempre, meron din ang alternate exterior. We have the alternate exterior angle theorem, which states that if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal line, then the alternate exterior angles are also congruent. So, try ulit natin na i-prove po ito. So, halimbawa, ang measure po ng angle 1 ay x. Okay? Since angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding angles, then the measure of angle 5 will also be x. Diba nga? Kasi nga po, corresponding angles are congruent according to the corresponding angle postulate. Okay? And as you can notice also, angle 5 and angle 7 are vertical angles. And according to the vertical angle theorem, they are congruent then, which means the measure of angle 7 is also x. Okay? Since angle 7 and angle 1 are both congruent to angle 5, then by transitive property, we can also conclude that the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 7. Okay? So, that's how we prove it. Meaning sa figure pong ito, tatandaan, ang measure po ng angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 7 and the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 8. And again, this happens when the lines being cut by the transversal line are parallel. Next is we have the same side interior angle theorem, and it states that if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal line, then the same side interior angles are supplementary. This time, hindi na po congruent ang usapan. Supplementary na po. And again, when we say supplementary, these are two angles whose sum of the measures is equal to 180 degrees. Okay? Pag pinag-plus po natin, 180 degrees ang sum. Let us try to prove the same side interior angle theorem. Halimbawa po, gusto natin i-prove na yung angle 4 and angle 5 ay supplementary angles. Okay? So, let x be the measure of angle 4 and let y be the measure of angle 5 since hindi natin alam kung parehas ba sila ng measurement. Okay? So, notice po, ang angle 5 at angle 1 ay corresponding. And based on the corresponding angle postulate, congruent silang dalawa, which means angle 1 also measures y. Okay? And angle 1 and angle 4, as you can see, form a linear pair. Eh, diba? Two angles that form a linear pair are supplementary, and that's based on the linear pair postulate. Okay? Which means the sum of the measures of angle 1 and angle 4 is equal to 180 degrees. Since equal lang naman yung measure ng angle 1 sa angle 5, then we can also conclude that the sum of the measures of angle 4 and angle 5 is also 180 degrees. Okay? So, ganun po i-prove yung same side interior angle theorem. Again, the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 5 is equal to 180 degrees. And also, since angle 3 and angle 6 are same side interior angles, then we can say that the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 6 is also equal to 180 degrees. Okay, so remember that when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal line, then the same side interior angles are always supplementary. Paano naman itong same side exterior angle theorem? So this theorem states that if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal line, then the same side exterior angles are also supplementary. So, same siya nung sa same side interior. Try ulit natin na i-prove yung theorem na ito. Halimbawa, ang gusto nating i-prove na supplementary is angle 1 and angle 8 since they are same side exterior angles. Let the measure of angle 1 be x and y be the measure of angle 8. So, as you can see, angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding angles. Okay? So, corresponding sila, which means they are congruent based on the corresponding angle postulate. So, x din po ito. Okay? And angle 5 and angle 8 form a linear pair, which means they are supplementary based on the linear pair postulate. And again, since the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 5, and the sum of the measures of angle 5 and 8 is equal to 180 degrees, then we can also say that the sum of the measures of angle 1 and angle 8 is also 180 degrees. Okay? So, yun yung proof ng same side exterior angle theorem. Again, this theorem states that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 8 is equal to 180 degrees, same with the other same side exterior angles, which are angle 2 and angle 7. Okay? So, the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 7 is also equal to 180 degrees. And that is when the lines being cut by the transversal are parallel. So, isummarize lang po natin yung mga relationship ng ating angle pairs. Tatandaan po kapag vertical yung angles, corresponding alternate interior, alternate exterior, laging tatandaan na congruent po yung mga measures nila. Okay? Congruent, which means that the measure of the first angle is equal to the measure of the second angle. So, para naman sa linear pair, same side interior at same side exterior angles, ang relationship po lagi ng mga angles na to ay supplementary, which means that the sum of the measure of the first angle plus the sum of the measure of the second angle is equal to 180 degrees. Try natin ngayon na i-apply po yung natutunan natin in finding the measures of the 7 angles here. So, given na po yung first angle, which measures 48 degrees. So, how are we going to find the other 7 angles? I-apply natin ngayon yung postulates and theorems na ating natutunan. So, dun muna tayo sa angle 1. As you can see, yung angle 1 po at yung given na angle, they form a linear pair. Okay? And since they form a linear pair, we will use the linear pair postulate, which states that they are supplementary. So, if they are supplementary, ang sum nila 180. Para makuha natin yung bubuo po sa 180, we will subtract 48 from 180. And we will get 132 degrees. Okay? So, again, sinubtract natin yung 48 sa 180. Kaya ang nakuha po ay 132 degrees. Okay? So, ganun po siya. And of course, tulad ng mga pinakita kong figures dun sa video kanina, sa Desmos, diba, mapapansin nyo, umiikot lang sa dalawang measurements. Okay? At yung dalawang measurements na yon, lagi siyang pag pinag-plus 180. So, meaning, dahil may 48 na tayo at 132, yung mga natitirang angles, it's either 48 or 132 degrees. Okay? Tatandaan po yan. Let's now find the measure of angle 2. Okay? So, maraming possible explanation kung paano natin makukuha yung measure nito. So, pwede natin gamitin yung vertical angle theorem since vertical angle sila nung given. Okay, so vertical angle theorem states that vertical angles are congruent, which makes angle 2 48 degrees. Okay, so ang isa pang explanation dyan, edi yung parang kanina, yung linear pair postulate. So, di ba linear pair yung 1 and 2? Since 132 na nga yung 1, edi we subtract 132 from 180, we will get 48 degrees. Okay? So, ganun po siya. Next po is angle 3. Okay? So, pwede ulit natin gamitin yung vertical angle theorem kasi nakuha na naman natin yung angle 1. Diba? So, since 132 degrees yung angle 1, then the measure of angle 3 is also 132 degrees. So, actually, mas madaling gamitin yung congruence kaysa dun sa supplementary. Yun ay, syempre, if available naman po yung kakongruent ng angle. Pwede rin natin gamitin yung linear pair postulate. Okay? Since yung angle 3 at yung given, linear pair din. So, ganun ulit, 180 minus 48, 132 pa din. So, paano naman kapag nandun na sa kabilang intersection yung hahanapin natin? Eh, walang given ni isa sa kanila. So, dun tayo gagamit nung iba pang postulate or theorem. Okay? So, halimbawa, we want to get the measure of angle 4. So, we can relate angle 4 to the given angle since they are corresponding. Diba? So, according to the corresponding angle postulate, they are congruent, which means that angle 4 also measures 48 degrees. Ano? So, aside from that, pwede rin nating sabihin na angle 2 and angle 4 are congruent because they are alternate interior angles. And based on the alternate interior angle theorem, they are congruent. Okay? So, ang isa pa na pwede nating gamitin na explanation dito ay yung same side interior angle theorem. So, di ba same side interior angles yung 3 and 4? According to that theorem, same side interior angles are supplementary. So since 132 na to, 180 minus 132, we will get 48 degrees. So now you see na maraming possible solutions, pero laging iisa yung sagot. Okay? So it's okay kung magkakaiba kayo ng solution, basta dapat iisa yung sagot na makukuha. So let's now proceed to the measure of angle 5. So the measure of angle 5 is also 132 degrees. So ano yung mga possible explanation? It corresponds to angle 1, so congruent sila. Congruent din siya with angle 3 kasi alternate interior. Or supplementary sila ni angle 4 kasi linear pair. Supplementary sila ng angle 2 kasi same side interior angle sila. Okay? So napakadami na nun. Next is angle 6. Of course, ang pinakamadali naman laging gamitin sa ganito is the vertical angle. Since vertical naman sila ng angle 4, edi 48 degrees din yung measure. And then, for the last one, angle 7, since vertical siya with angle 5, then its measure is also 132 degrees. But you can also have other explanations aside from the vertical angles. Okay? So, it's up to you po on how are you going to justify your answer. As long as kayo po ay gumagamit ng postulates at saka ng theorems na ating inaral. So that's it for our video. Thank you at sana po ay marami po kayong natutunan sa lesson natin. Sa ating next video, we are going to study how to apply algebraic methods in finding the measures of the angles formed by two parallel lines cut by a transversal line. See you on the next video and God bless you!